So back into game number 2 here. The players still both on Germany, but of course Germany is now eliminated for both players. As soon as you play a Civ, you lose the ability to play it for the duration of the set until the reset hits, which I believe is game 4 in a best of 7, I think. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. We'll have to see what civilizations they pick and who picks first. But the second map is Arkansas. Azuta, what do you think we're likely to see on Arkansas?
I wonder if we'll not see something like a French mirror. It's really hard to say. I don't know that this map in particular favors a lot of civs. I want to look at the rest of the map pool. We could also see something like a Japan mirror or something like that.
I think the rest of the map pool is important because you don't want to pull out a Civ now that might be good on another map that you may have to play on. But Arkansas, as we know, is a fairly aggressive map in the sense that there are short rush distances and not very many resources. The hunts are sparse, there's not very many of them. There are a lot of berry bushes, but obviously they're undesirable. And the coin mines are not coin mines or silver mines, they are in fact tin mines, which only contain 1,500 coin a pop, meaning that there aren't very many resources. And I think civilizations that deal well with pressure or are good at making pressure are desirable on this map. Would you agree?
I agree to some extent. It's also a fairly high resource map in general. There's lots of starting hunt, which is pretty good for a lot of civs. You don't want to. I mean, if you're going to play something like Brit or something, now would be at least a chance to play it versus something like Bengal or something where your hunts are really exposed and
really far away. Okay,
really
so I guess they are quite close to sort of your initial hunts, and that does open that up.
I think we'll probably see a French mirror, honestly.
I'm thinking French as well.
I think it'll be a French mirror, or there's a chance it's a Japan mirror. I don't expect Mitoe to want to play a Japan mirror, especially since Sam has historically been doing quite well in Japan mirrors in this tournament. Plus, I know that's not one of Mitoe's best civs. At the same time, I don't know if down one game, it's in Mitoe's best interest to play the matchup that Sam has played the most of in his entire life.
The French mirror.
Yeah, so that's a call out as well. I think I'll expect to see a French mirror until we see otherwise. Yes, it is.
I'm interested. French mirror, I think would be nice. Obviously, there are a lot of starting hunt, as you said, but I think overall, France does have the villages with the extra HP and sort of the raiding resistance. Well, actually, no, they don't have raiding resistance. Unupgraded French villages are weaker to cavalry than standard ones, so France would be a good choice since you can have them help in fights when they're far out gathering resources. But actually, Mitoe makes the first change here. Has selected Japan on this map.
Yes.
We'll have to see how Mitoe responds. Does play click in? Well, chooses the French here. Will Mitoe click in? No, he's going to take the French mirror. Does not want to play Japan into France. Has clicked in as well. We'll see if Samwise wants to change. He doesn't. Both players have clicked in. Having said that, though, does ungreen is no longer greened up.
Oh, wrong map. UI version of map. UI map.
Yes.
Not Arizona.
Arizona. Arkansas. Yeah. So both players are going to... Well, Mitoe taking Japan, denied the Japan mirror since Samwise wants to play French, and looks like Samwise has forced his opponent into taking the French mirror. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 2 in this best of 7 series between Mitoe and Samwise12 for the quarterfinals of the ESOC Summer Tournament Championships. This is Arkansas, our second map. Both players playing as the French. Spawning in the left-hand side of the map. No, we'll start with the colour yellow. I don't know where he's going to spawn, but I want to start with Samwise12. Spawning on the right-hand side of the map. Oh, this is okay.
Yes.
Whoops. I was thinking of a different map. What map was I thinking of? I was thinking of...
Because we were saying Arkansas.
Yeah, these ones have silver mines, which are not the 1,500 mines I was thinking of.
Oh, you were thinking Cascade Range.
That's the one I was thinking of. Okay, yes. So I got everything I said wrong during the pre-game sort of analysis and talk. Just ignore me. I was correct if this was the map I was thinking of, but it's not the map I was thinking of at all. This is a different one. Whoops, Arkansas. Here we have, though, Samwise12. Possibly one of the best French players to ever have existed. Certainly back in the day popularized the French and is to this day the reason why French, has the build orders that it does. We always and quite often say attribute when people do that with sort of France. But trading post going down.
Is he going to make it? I don't know the timing on this map. I don't know if you can actually make it or not. It's going to be so close.
I think it's going to be close, though. It does look like he's going to get it up. No! Oh! No! Oh, he misses it! That's absolutely brutal. Now this is going to come past here, and Samwise, of course, going to get this, watch his XP here. 50, jumping up to 69 there, and it does mean he's going to get his 70% now. He's going to get that first 3 Vil shipment a little bit quicker. Of course, every other shipment for the rest of the game a little bit quicker. As the game gets later on, not going to matter so much, but early on in the game, 3 villages is like a third of your economy, and having that gather food to help you age up that bit quicker is going to be good. I'm not necessarily sure what Mitoe did. Was he a little bit late heading down there? Because usually you can get that up.
No, I think he just straight up ran, and I think a bit of this is an artifact of where your explorer spawns. Now, just like everything else in the game, where your explorer actually stands when he's spawning is completely random. And as a result of that,
both players did get that. When that shipment passed, they both hit 100% on their shipment at the same time, so this isn't actually going to impact the game at all.
That's true.
Yeah, but go ahead. Where they spawn, if it spawns sort of on the north side of your town center, you're saying that it's farther away.
He has to walk like an extra 4 or 5 seconds, right? If it spawns up into the left here, he has to walk the distance around the coin mine, like path around the trees, etc., etc. And as we can see, it was so very close that is, potentially something that could cost you the trading route on this map.
Yeah.
It's definitely something worth noting for a high-level player. Maybe not something that is super critical in anything aside from a tournament, but
we do though have a little bit of conflict over here. It looks like Samwise's Explorer has been caught by his opponents there in hand combat. Looks like they were fighting over an 80 food treasure. I'm not sure if that is the case though, but certainly Mitoe did pick up an 80 food treasure. But now it looks like Samwise's scout is going to get hurt. Though actually they've separated here, and I think that is a facet of Mitoe wanting to keep that scout alive. Is going to get that away there. Doesn't look like he's going to catch it.
He got blocked by the elk too. The elk randomly pathed in front of Sam.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I was too busy looking at something.
which allowed Mitoe's Explorer or Scout to get further away. As you can see, like when the Scout changes directions when he makes turns, because the other Scout is able to path like more directly to where the Scout is following, he actually catches up with him a little bit, and if Mitoe were to take too sharp of a turn, eventually the Scout would catch him and he would be able to kill him. We can see that's why Sam's just got him tasked into chasing him
Look at
down.
that position of the Explorer there. He knows exactly where that guy's going to come out, and is getting that Explorer in position to do a bit of extra damage here, and only has 20 hit points. Takes one shot. He's going to die on the next one. I think Mitoe wants to get it close to his town center so that, of course, he can put the villagers in and then scare off any of his opponent's scouting units because of the town center fire. But does lose his native scout. It's not the biggest deal for French, since of course they still have the other Explorer, which can take a look at what your opponent's doing, but is gonna neglect him sort of scouting information because France can put that scout in stealth mode, and you can see units coming from across the map here. Samwise12 for the rest of the game is gonna have more scouting information. Could have that in the middle of the map. Could see things coming towards him. Mitoe no longer has that, but both players now heading on up to the next age. Looks like both players have elected to build a market during transition. Of course, got the trading post in the very beginning of the game, and have got their hunting dogs upgrade, and will now gather the resources required for steel traps. They'll have all the resources exactly needed, and then we'll have to see what they elect to do in this matchup, whether they'll start with stables or perhaps something else.
I want to go back to the scout thing just momentarily, because it's those kinds of things. People often ask, like, what's the difference between a PR35 and a PR40 player? That is the difference. It's those little tiny things. The fact that now Samwise12 has an extra scout. Look where he's standing at. He's standing at right in the middle of the map. He's going to be able to put it in stealth. He's going to be able to use it for the rest of the game to have that extra little tiny bit of knowledge.
And look at that. It sees the stable right away. So what you're saying coming into play instantly. At this point, Mitoe's Explorer is going to have to find it. It does find it, but things like that.
It's that difference, and it's so hard to say, like, he's doing, like, they're doing the same build and they're executing in the same way. They're both hurting well, but it's those little tiny things, taking your Explorer and knowing the pathing of where your opponent's trying to run to and having the foresight to catch him. Something like that. It's those little tiny things that make those differences between the really good players and the elite level players.
You're absolutely right there, Zuta.
And that was just something so impressive to me.
By the looks of it, Samwise12 electing to do the Samwise12 build has started with 700 wood and built a stable and a barracks out of his 400 wood. He's going to use this 700 wood here. So he's aged up with 400 wood, built these 2 buildings with it, aged and sent 700 wood, now going to slam down some houses and basically, yeah, this is going to have a colonial agenda. He could send 700 coin and transition up to the next stage if he sees an opening to do that, but of course this is a French mirror, and sneaking up to the next stage does mean not making military units. And if you stop making sort of army for the time being, your opponent can really punish you. Though if you get away with it, you do get up to the next stage and have those units that super hard counter your opponent here. Mitoe, though, slightly different build, starting with the stable, does make some cavalry, so it's still going to be able to deflect any sort of incoming raiding pressure from Samwise's stable, but does send 4 villagers as his first shipment as opposed to 700 wood. As a result of that, the barracks will go up later, but by the looks of it, has gotten away with that and is going to have those 4 extra villagers working for him for an entire 30 second, or however long it takes for a shipment to come here, and has that extra tomahawk in this fight as well, though his opponent has a tomahawk and a musketeer that he managed to train for, because he started with a barracks as well, and as a result of that, Mitoe no longer pressured that, or if this fight does happen, Samwise should have the advantage due to the extra musketeer, though only gets 1 out, but worth noting if there's more than 1, then certainly this could be, because Mitoe was a little bit greedy with the 4 villagers, but that could have gone badly. But does get away with it by the looks of it, and has the villagers working away.
Sam also being very careful there. We can see just 2 extra Hussar popping out there, but had those 2 extra Hussar popped out while Sam was pathing around here to the south side, despite the fact that he had that extra musket in the fight, things would have gone very, very poorly for him. And as a result of their scooting his way on out, definitely making the right call there, waiting for some reinforcements. And we can see now a couple more muskets trained, 8 crossbowmen out. Looks like he's going to take this opportunity.
Oh, here comes the cavalry. The crossbowmen are a little bit exposed. They're not really, though, considering they're in the trees, and there's actually quite a lot of muskets there. I thought I saw the cavalry quite far away, and I panicked for a moment. Never mind. But here we are, heading on.
Panic.
Mitoe heading on over to this stable is now going to force Samwise to respond here. What do you think of fighting so close to your opponent's military buildings where units are going to pop out?
It's always dangerous, right? It's always dangerous. This is something that has to be considered. We can see Mitoe not wanting to commit too hard here. It's not like he was standing behind the stable or anything like that. So he is taking a couple pot shots here, but he is giving himself the opportunity to run should that need arise. And we can see now Mitoe bringing in a couple more musketeers. Looks like we're going to have a real fight here on our hands.
Yeah, looks like it. Switching over to the sort of the military tab here. Mitoe is up an entire batch of musketeers, if you take a look at that. Of course, some players have lost a couple of other units, but fairly insignificant here. Though, having said that, there are, if we look at the queue, we're going to see reinforcing units from Samwise fairly soon. And here is just a lot of tension on this side of the map, near these buildings, but doesn't really want to go for them full on unless he's comfortable that he's not going to get surprised by a batch of 5 and Minutemen in a shipment or something like that. But Mitoe bringing these cavalry around, looks like he's going to pick up a villager kill here, and that's only going to add to the fact that he was able to get his 4 villagers out sooner than his opponent, and have perhaps a few extra reasons. Doesn't actually take the villager out. Samwise does deflect that there, but all things considered, now at this sort of point in the game, both players fairly even military populations and villager populations, and improvements at the market as well.
It is worth pointing out that Sam did send 3 Hussars as his previous card, so he wants to force a fight here. He does have a military.
Oh, he does, yeah.
So he should know that.
Yeah, he's got, here by the looks of, well, Mitoe actually 10 population up on him, despite that 3 cavalry shipment, but certainly that gives you a power spike and, gives the units instantly to take the fight here. What are we looking at?
Looks like things actually going pretty well here for Sam. We can see a 2 cav remaining. Was able to really meat shield the rest of his ranged infantry as a result of just having more stuff. Mitoe instead with that 600 wood was able to get out a big batch of crossbows. We can see now as a result of just having infantry left, definitely going to be to his advantage. But things really not that much of a difference. Yeah. There was just the small change in build there where Mitoe did send 600 wood and elected to train crossbows versus Sam, who did not send 600 wood, instead just opted for the 3 Hussar shipment, and used it to meat shield his units as a result. We can see now Sam is shipping 600 wood, going to probably be training a couple more ranged units of his own.
Yep.
But for the time being, Mitoe does have a nice little advantage, despite the fact that, you know, he has lost out on a little bit of scouting information and stuff this game. Looks to have recovered nicely and really has a nice ranged infantry mass here that is going to be a bit difficult for Samwise to navigate moving forward, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And he does have those crossbowmen in queue, one in each barracks, and we'll no doubt 10 extra here. A little bit of attacking that barracks, but not going to commit to it too hard. Just doesn't really want to. Just being very passive, both players, playing very safely, of course. If you do manage to take out that barracks because your opponent isn't able to defend it, massive advantage, but, you know, with these 10 crossbows, he's anticipating something. But here we have another fight here, and wait a minute. Yeah. Mitoe has sent, by the looks of it, Team Early Skirmishers. A very interesting card indeed. Does give you access to skirmishers in the Colonial Age for the entire team. In this case, he is the only member on his team. A nice raid from Samwise, actually. Does manage to pick up, by the looks of it, a few vills. Minutemen coming out. Looks like only one villager going down. But with the lack of those cav in the battle here, Mitoe has a small advantage in the sense that there are no units here. But there's no cavalry here, I should say. But actually, you know, going to call his Minutemen.
And I think that's a wise thing to do at this point. He's definitely going to need to hold this push while those cav are running around. But Sam is buying himself a lot of time with this raid. This has been quite annoying for Mitoe to deal with. His hunt is a bit exposed here. And Sam pushing forward here now with a significant ranged advantage, despite the fact that, as you mentioned,
this raid in the back is going to hurt him a lot there. Those Minutemen going to go down pretty quick, and those villagers, no more reinforcements, or perhaps less reinforcements, as they're unable to gather. And really, you know, you've even mentioned it yourself in the past, Sam is able to match your fights and somehow always have 5 cav.
There's always 2 hussars standing on top of your next hunt.
Yep. Somehow manages it. And, you know, whilst he is sort of even over here, perhaps he's not going to have quite as many reinforcing units in this next fight. The interesting thing, I think, though, about this game is the early skirmishers choice there. 700 coin does come out for Samwise, and that's a tangible 700 coin, which translates into a lot of villager seconds and therefore a lot of military units. Let's take a look at the queue, and we'll most likely see, you know, well, you can use that for cavalry, you can use that for aging up, though obviously that's unlikely at this point. You can just use it for military units, whereas skirmishers gives them this sort of not so tangible tech advantage in the sense that he does have now sort of, he uses a shipment, but has access to a sort of techie unit that outranges his opponent's musketeers and crossbowmen, and providing you can protect them from the cavalry, should be okay. Oh my goodness, there, those cav I thought were going to absolutely biblicize the ranged infantry, but a pop of 5 hussars do come out, and as a result of that, Samwise gets on out of there. I think both, you know, it looks like Mitoe's sort of stabilized off this. You know, his opponent
came out. 3 hussar came as his next ship, and he should be okay, I guess. Sam does still have, you know, a little bit slight advantage in terms of military population, but as you mentioned, those skirmishers really doing a good job of poking down the muskets before they're really able to get into the mix. And there are a couple of Minutemen contributing here as well, so those will drop fairly easily. And let's see what happens in this fight. Big fight, cav fighting in the north side of the map.
This is a big fight, and it's very, very important for at least Mitoe, and especially both players, really, to keep the cavalry alive. Those are the things for him, which are blocking his opponent's cavalry from getting up in his sort of ranged infantry's grill and taking them out here. An extra reinforcing batch of 5 cav. That's 1,000 resources enter this battlefield, and we do see 1,000 resources worth of musks entering the fray, but they needed to be here a little bit sooner. Fortunately, though, it's not going to matter too much, as Mitoe's cavalry being used to come in, cooling them back to sort of deal with the yellow ones, take them out. Doesn't want them to be fighting his sort of skirmisher mass there. As a result, though,
great positioning out of Sam there. Great positioning out of Sam.
Loses his cav, and now look at this. The skirmishers that he's worked so hard to get out are going to get eaten up by those cavalry. Take a look at the queue, though, and see if he has anything. Mitoe does have 4 hussars in queue. Perhaps they'll pop now. They really need to come out right now. There they are. 4 hussars do come out, but I think they're a little bit late. They needed to be a little bit sooner to save a few more of the skirmishers, and at this point, there are a lot of yellow units there that are just going to power down these teal, cyan, whatever you want to call them, units, and does take that out, and Mitoe reflecting on his choice of shipments, I think, in the chat there.
Yeah, game number 2.
700 coin. By the looks of it, obviously there, you know, the micro and the fights and the positioning has to be taken into account as well. But perhaps early skirmishers just lost the tempo too hard in terms of how many resources Samwise was able to field into military units there, and as a result overpowered him.
I think the other big thing that we noticed it in the game, right? That big raid. The fact that Sam opted to send 3 cav early meant that he had a larger cav mass a little bit earlier, and he was able to translate that into raiding pressure across the map, which Mitoe never had. The one big disadvantage when you're making only purely ranged units against your opponent, despite the fact that maybe you even have the better mass, the better counters, is you still lack the ability to just sprint across to the other side of the map and deny resources. There was also a point where Mitoe was gathering from the south coin mine that we can see that's almost exhausted, just south of his town center. And the cav path really close to it, and I think Sam just didn't see it because he went for the hunt up to the north side, and he did cause quite a bit of pressure there as well. But had he noticed these villagers gathering from this coin mine, he might have been able to kill even more of them and put an even quicker end to this game. Just a hard stop to the coin mine that Mitoe really wouldn't have been able to recover from. But regardless, he was able to apply some pressure to the hunt, and as a fact of that, Mitoe had a difficulty keeping up, and we could see he tried some, cute stuff with the team, early skirmishers, etc. But it just didn't pay off early enough.
I can see it being good though. Like if you're at that very even point, that fine line of balance in the French mirror, and you're able to sort of get away with perhaps not sending the 700 coin, you can send a shipment that isn't such a big tangible bonus. You can get away with the skirmishers or an upgrade or something like that. It gives you a more long-term benefit. The skirmishers there, if you can protect them well enough, you can just kite the musketeers and the crossbowmen all day long, and they can't get you. They do not have enough range, and the only way your opponent can match it is going up to Fortress Age, unless they happen to have Team Early skirmishers in their deck. Despite them not being veteran skirmishers, they do get shadow teched when you upgrade. You don't have that in the Colonial Age. I think it's interesting, but ultimately Samwise12 does take the second game. The score is now 2-0.
The sheer number of Mitoe's game, Samwise12's game. It took me a minute to actually just page through all the different ones and figure out which one was the right which one was the actual right game.
We've said this before, but people who for the first time, they don't really know what this tournament is, just signing into ESO, perhaps just one evening. Whoa, Mitoe's game, Samwise12's game, what is this?
Yeah, like the random PR11 who just doesn't know anything about the community. He just sees all this and he's like, what the hell is going on? He's just so confused. I would be confused. If I didn't know who these two players were. If you look at the game browser, there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Mitoe's games, and how many Samwise12's games? 1, 2, 3, 4 Samwise12's games. I think I saw a Frodo's game as well. So yeah, Frodo 12. So, Frodo 12's game.
Frodo 12's game. I love it. Samwise and Frodo, Lord of the Rings. That's great. But we do have game number 3 here. Indonesia is our next map.